Okay.
I don't even know how to do it. Used to play with.
Have you had a good meeting? What are your mates about?
The answer.
You had a good meeting.
Okay. Whoops.
I got it. I got it.
Here, let me help that reach.
Thank you.
Stretch that stuff.
I have long arms, but not quite that. So, hello to our friends in YouTube land. We'll get you hooked up here. Suddenly got very quiet. Say hi. Say hi to our YouTube friends. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yay. Okay. And so we're welcoming some new friends here. This is Wayne and Glenn. Okay. And here comes someone. Definitely someone. Yeah, you can bring your shoes inside. It's raining in Los Angeles. It's a rare event here. So, this is natural meditation. So, Wayne found his way here through finding my book, Natural Meditation, in the lobby of a doctor's office. So, natural means, I don't know, what does natural mean? It means we don't do anything unnatural. So we don't torture ourselves. We don't sit uncomfortably. We don't do anything uncomfortable to our bodies or to our minds or to our emotions or to I don't know, our neighbors or anything else, because that would defeat the purpose, wouldn't it? And it turns out that that works, and it turns out that the stuff works not in spite of being natural and effortless. It works because it's natural and effortless, because effort is perfectly appropriate in almost everything else that we do. But in meditation, it's self-defeating, because effort, right? Okay, try to relax. No, it's not working. Try harder. Oh, still not working? And it's not gonna. No matter how hard we try to relax, try to silence the mind, try to calm the waters. The harder you work at calming the waters, the more you stir them up. Okay? And I'm sure some of you have experienced that. That's called trying to meditate. And if I had $1 for every person who said to me, well, I tried to meditate, but it was so hard. And I reply, no, you tried to meditate, and therefore it was hard. So what we do here is the opposite. It's instead of trying to flatten out all the waves on the surface of the mind, we allow gravity, this force which is way much bigger than we are. We allow gravity to take over and pull us down into the waters beneath the waves. And it turns out you only have to go about a foot below the surface, and guess what? The waters are always already silent. It's not that, that way we succeed in making silence, creating silence. It's that way we settle into the silence that is always already there. That means it's there right now. And those of you who've been practicing this for a while, you know this, right? You know that more and more it's like, oh, I can access this anytime. I can just Actually, Rob mentioned to me at dinner tonight a lovely phrase from a teacher. He was just with a Buddhist teacher in New Hampshire. What was the
Sacred moment.
sacred moment? Yeah, we were sitting down to eat dinner, and I did this thing which I actually, at this point in my life, I can't eat without closing my eyes first. I've been doing it for so many years. Sometimes if I'm in a restaurant or social situation, I'll sneak it, like when no one's looking, I'll take a quickie. But at this point, it's such a habit, I have to do it. And it's really great. You close your eyes and not doing anything in particular. And oh, yeah, here it is. Here's that boundlessness. Here's that place of no problems, no task to do, no nothing. Oh yeah, right here. And more it gets like that. And more it gets to where you don't even have to close the eyes. You start getting where, oh yeah, at all the red lights I can close, instead of straining for trying to make the light turn green faster. I close my eyes for a moment, there it is. And then after a while you start being in that silence on the green lights too. Why can't you be in that silence, rooted in that silence, coming from the place of that silence, with your foot on the gas as well as with your foot on the brake? It just kind of seeps into your life in that way. The practice is natural, and then the way it seeps into your life is natural. I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember R. Crumb, Zap Comics, with Mr. Natural. I need to get a Mr. Natural t-shirt. He was this great fake guru, and his disciple Flaky Funt. So, the most important instruction is the one you're going to get right now, which is take it easy. And if the way you're sitting is not comfortable, change it till you're comfortable. If you need to lie on the floor on your back, that's great, do that. You won't be the first here. And at any point during the session, if you feel you need to change your position to be comfortable, change your position. You don't get extra points for rigid immobility. No one's giving out points, except you in your own mind. And I don't know where you redeem those points. Or what you get, what's the prize you get for those, I don't know. So let's start with a little meditative on-ramp, an on-ramp into nothing. We do a little bit of something as an on-ramp into nothing. What on-ramp should we do tonight? Any requests? Any golden oldies requested? Okay, let's do the mantra of joy. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Whee! I didn't see everyone throwing their hands out in a gesture of wild exuberance, but so let's try that again.
It's unnatural for some of us.
Well, that's okay. If you guys didn't hear that, he said that's unnatural for me. And of course, Michael's a wise ass, but also, yeah, a lot of people will feel, oh, I don't want to do something like that. That feels unnatural to me. Okay, so now this is the point. It's such a good point. If you're in a doctor's waiting room, let's say, or a dentist's waiting room, maybe you've seen this, and you're sitting there waiting, and as a meditative practitioner, you're sitting back relaxed in the seat, and you see these people who are like leaning forward in the seat, and they're clenching their hands, and you really want, at least I really want, I want to go over to them and say, listen, darling, you don't just relax your hand, just sit back. Look, isn't that better? Isn't that easier? Right? This takes a lot of work. This takes no work. But if we've been in the habit of doing this for a long time, for minutes or hours or years, we can think, oh, this is natural. This is regular. And oh, it would be an effort to, and so sometimes someone has to give you a little nudge to, okay, let's try this, all right? And let's see if actually sitting and not being in the place of we, maybe that turns out to be actually more work, less natural than going we. Okay? So this is where you have to trust me about 2 cents worth, okay? So 1, 2, 3, wee! Pretty good, B plus. Okay, let's go for the A. 1, 2, 3, wee! One more, 1, 2, 3, wee! Now try to be depressed. Try hard.
Too late.
Try. Yeah, Michael. Yeah. Okay. Do you notice it's hard to be depressed after you've done that? Okay. And there's all this neurology because you can't say "we" without smiling, and you've got the facial feedback hypothesis, which tells us that our face tends to reflect our moods, but also our moods reflect what's going on in our face. You can cynically call this fake it till you make it, but it's real physiology. It's real. So when you wake up in the morning and you feel grouchy or depressed or angry, waking up in the morning angry. I was talking yesterday to someone who was telling me he wakes up angry every morning. So here's what you do. You sit up in bed and you go, wee, 3 times. You throw your hands up in the air. And if you're really feeling grouchy or depressed or angry, you're really not going to want to do that. You're going to think this is the most stupid fucking thing I've ever heard, okay? But, you know, if you trust me, or just, you know, trust the universe 2 cents worth, give it a try, see what happens. Or don't. God bless you. Okay, so let's look around the room. Look in one direction, and you see a bunch of stuff. You're aware of a bunch of stuff. Look in another direction, some other direction, doesn't matter. Now you see a different bunch of stuff. You're aware of a different bunch of stuff. The stuff you're aware of changes. That's called life. The stuff you're aware of is always changing. Okay? Raise your shoulders up and scrunch them up in an uncomfortable way. So now you're aware of this kind of feeling. Now drop them into a now you're aware of that kind of feeling. What you're aware of is changing. In fact, scrunch one up in an uncomfortable way and the other keep relaxed. Oh, you can be aware of both of those at once. So what's the constant through all of this? Is that you're aware. What you're aware of keeps changing. Moment to moment. There's no 2 moments of what we're aware of exactly alike in your whole life, in the whole history of the universe. But the thread that runs through it, the silent thread, the thread of non-change, is the fact of awareness itself. Let's at least take that as the hypothesis. So far, that seems to test out. We'll test it further. Okay, so let's close our eyes. No meditating. No meditating. All we're doing is closing our eyes. No one's allowed to meditate. So what changes when we close our eyes? Okay, obviously we're now not aware of all that external visual stimuli. There's still some internal visual stimuli. So, okay, basically same situation. The stuff we're aware of keeps changing. We're aware of sounds. Maybe you hear the rain dripping. Occasionally, traffic in the distance. This voice coming and going. So the sounds we're aware of keep changing. The fact of awareness remains the same. feelings are there. Maybe you feel warm or cool, tense or relaxed, doesn't matter. No one thing that we're aware of for our purposes here is better or worse than any other thing we're aware of. All that matters is that we're aware, is that we notice that we're aware. The stuff we're aware of changes, awareness remains the same. Funnily enough, most people spend their lives looking for something stable and reliable in the world of the stuff we're aware of. And damn, it keeps changing. And here's this one stable, reliable thing that's always right here, awareness. And therefore, there's nothing for us to do. Notice that there's no work involved in being aware. In fact, try to stop being aware. You can't do it. And notice there's no effort involved in being aware of the various sights and sounds and feelings as they come and go. It all happens in this wonderful, effortless way. It's a lazy person's paradise. Just kind of lying back on the cosmic hammock, as it were, letting everything happen by itself. Just resting in the situation as it is. Resting in the situation of awareness. Not especially minding the changing stuff we're aware of. Just letting that take care of itself. Not trying to be mindful or vigilant. We've been talking about being aware. That doesn't mean aware. You know, like, oh, I'm keeping track. It's the thing we can't help. So we can just rest in that. We can let go into that. We can surrender to that. Just letting go into this awareness, which is always the present situation. Just rest as awareness, that's simple. As you already are. Not trying to figure anything out. Not trying to get anything right. There's nothing to get right. It's all happening by itself. Certainly not trying to concentrate or focus on anything. Not trying to have any particular kind of experience. That's all just a bunch of artifice. And naturally, we may find ourselves trying to build some artifice, and every time we do, just have a good laugh at yourself and let it fall down. Just let the natural gravity pull all your constructs back down to the ground. And just rest in this awareness. We don't look for the awareness. If you look for it, you can't see it. Anything you can see is just some of the stuff you're aware of. Colors and shapes. Or sounds you can hear, so awareness can't have a sound. It's got to be silent, colorless, sizeless, just nothing. It's just the perfect empty space within which all our awareness of the different objects takes place. So we can rest in the perfect, natural, empty spaciousness of awareness. It's perfectly empty, even when it's full of stuff. Just like open space. Naturally, feelings may arise within this open space of awareness. Could be feelings of restlessness or tranquility, joy, depression, fatigue, energy. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how we feel. That feeling is just one more object passing through the space of awareness. And just as the space in a room is not affected by the objects that pass through it, the space of awareness is not affected by anything that appears within it. Sight, sounds, feelings, thoughts. That's why thoughts don't matter. They're just more objects passing through. You just don't pay much attention to them. You just rest as this open space of awareness. It's got room for everything. Not affected by anything. At any point, if you feel you're struggling with something or resisting something or wrestling with something, whether it's a thought or a feeling, anything, don't try to get rid of it. Don't try to resolve it. Just relax your grip on it. We don't even want to say let it go, because it doesn't matter if it goes away. Just relax your grip on it. That's all. And relax back into yourself. That is, relax back into this open, empty, space-like awareness. Whatever's there along with it or within it doesn't matter, as long as you're not clutching it or trying to push it away. At any point, if you feel like, oh, I went off on this long story, this long train of thoughts, now I have to come back. No, everything's fine. You don't have to come back anywhere. It's all been happening right here, in this space-like awareness. Where else could it be? That's where all experience happens, right here. Never anywhere to go. Always resting right here. Giving up right here. Letting be and surrendering right here. This very awareness. Now, please notice whether, even very subtly, there's something you're trying to do to be in meditation. Like whenever we ring the bell to end it, is there something you're going to let go of, something you're going to stop doing? And if so, let go of it now. Just drop that, throw that into the fire. Throw everything into the fire. And just hang out here in this space of freedom that remains when we throw everything into the fire. Now leave the eyes closed and take 2 or 3 minutes to start gently bringing the body back to a more active state, like waking up in bed in the morning. So you might want to shift your position. Just start stirring, maybe stretching your limbs, rubbing your hands or your face, getting the blood going again. And after a couple of minutes like that, when you feel ready, you can slowly open the eyes. But take all the time that the body wants you to take. Okay, how's everyone doing? Good?
Yep.
Good. Good? Good? Yep. Simple?
Is it still here?
Still here.
Yeah.
Still here.
Yeah.
Still aware.
Yep.
Yep.
That's very good.
Yep. Yep. Now, you just said something very interesting. It's very good. Under what circumstances would we say, no, it was bad?
I think for me it's my first time, so I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
But
Perfect.
I managed to get close to where you were describing.
Mhm.
So my anticipation was I didn't know how it would be, but it actually was
Perfect. So,
good.
yeah.
Really
So you went, it sounds like not knowing what to, not knowing is, there's this wonderful Zen master, Sung San, in Rhode Island, who his whole thing was only don't know. Only don't know. That was his whole approach to everything. Just don't know. Don't know. Another Zen master, I've said this before, or it might have been him. He wrote a book with a title something like "Mouth Open, Wrong Already." So yeah, just don't know. Just I don't know, and that's the way to go in the first time. That's the way to go in every time.
right.
We don't get sophisticated. We don't get. No one gets advanced placement credit.
I think your advice of don't try
Don't try.
really helped because once before I tried,
Yeah.
didn't get anywhere.
Right.
In fact, my mind I couldn't get out of all the things that were going on.
Right.
So it was
Right.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's actually terrific that you've got the contrast. You had the experience of trying to meditate, so you can see the difference.
Yeah.
You know, I taught this for years when I lived in New Jersey, actually. I taught this for years to high school students, you know, and I have all these whole classrooms full of 15-year-olds starting. And in a way, it was great because they just was for almost every one of them, it was their first exposure. So they just assumed, oh, this is how everyone learns to meditate. Oh, it's the easiest thing in the world. And it is, that's how it should be, you know. But, you know, they didn't have that contrast that you've experienced of, oh, here's trying, here's not trying,
Yeah.
not trying. We can put it this way, and this applies to meditation, not much else. Working doesn't work. Not working works. Not working works. That's not working. Just giving ourselves up to gravity. It allows gravity to pull us down into the still waters of awareness, which are always there, which are there right now. Okay, and so when, you know, if we come out with a report like you said, it was good, we just want to be clear we understand what that means. It doesn't mean I didn't have any thoughts. It means I didn't bother about whether I had thoughts or not.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't mean, you know, I mean, this room is pretty quiet tonight, but sometimes, you know, in the summer, we've got the windows open, the dogs are barking, people are playing their radios. Great. You know, and the external noise or silence, the internal noise or silence Same thing. Doesn't matter. It's just stuff. And as long as we're setting ourselves up as the traffic cop of the stuff, which is what most people think meditation is, then it's an unending task. We can never control all that traffic. You know, and the good news is you just let it run you over, as it were, and just great, you give up. You give up. Sooner or later, everyone gives up. But and the job of the teacher or the guide, as I see it, is just to kind of facilitate shortening the time till you give up.
Yeah.
So making it easier for you to see your way clear, to being clear on, there's nothing for me to do. Anything I try to do is guaranteed to failure.
Yeah, because I used to watch my thoughts. Well, I used to see my thoughts go by like on a freeway. I used to jump in the freeway trying to stop them all.
Yeah.
Like how to stop these thoughts so I can meditate.
Yeah, right.
And with your advice, I kind of just stood at the
Right.
space and just watched every thought go by very slowly
Right.
and didn't really care much.
Right. And by the way, when you say my advice, this is not, I haven't made up any of this stuff. This is all what I was so blessed to learn from my teachers. Because I started with the teachers that had me, trying to clear my mind and trying to, control all the traffic on the freeway. And I lasted about 3 days. Fortunately, I could see that I was going to be way too lazy to do that. And I just found the teachers that were plugged into the authentic, age-old traditions, the traditional understanding, the thousands of years of people test driving this stuff, seeing what works. And it turns out that not working works. So, yeah.
I love the jumping into the freeway to try to stop it analogy, because
Yeah.
that wouldn't work real well, and you don't want to
Stay-
jump. You really don't want to jump in the freeway under
Anywhere.
any circumstances to try to stop it.
Right.
Yeah, I always used to
It's a
wonder,
great
like,
analogy.
how do people like clear their mind? Because I'm thinking there's all
They-
these thoughts. Like, how do you stop them?
Yeah.
You tell me I'm trying to stop them, but
They don't. They
They don't
don't.
stop, which is-
That concept that you have, like you see the Dalai Lama, or you see your yoga teacher, or you see, some of these people sitting with, and you think, they've got their minds are clear. They've stopped all their thoughts. You know what that concept is that you have when you think that? That's called a thought. That's just one more thought.
right.
That's just one more thought.
Yeah.
When the Buddha's sitting there with that big smile on his face, or that little subtle smile on his face, that quiet Mona Lisa smile, it's not because he has no thoughts. It's because he's seen once and for all that it's cool, it's fine for the thoughts to come, for the thoughts to go, for the sound to come, for the sounds to go, for the hot and the cold to come and go, for the joy and the depression to come and go. We even think, an enlightened person never experiences grief or depression. That's not so, but they're cool with it. What's different is that it's all being experienced as stuff coming and going within this space, this empty, delicious, boundless space of awareness which does not come and go. That's the only thing, which is not a thing, that doesn't come and go. And it becomes more and more clear to us that, that's the stuff. That's the fundamental reality of our life. Everything else, in a sense, we measure things, the reality of things, by their lifespan. It's like maybe, I thought this romance was real, but then it turned out it only lasted for a week and a half. It wasn't real. And then the longer the lifespan, or maybe we have an idea, like democracy. We're kind of in a test right now to find out how real, how viable that thing is, which, I just always grew up by taking civics classes thinking, this is going to last, this lasts forever, of course. Well, we'll see. So, but turns out nothing lasts forever. Someday, just like in Planet of the Apes, the Statue of Liberty will be a bit of wreckage on the beach somewhere. This planet will be a cinder someday, right? And on that day, this open space of awareness will be exactly the same. The open space is exactly the same. And we can access it anytime. It becomes more and more clear to us. After a while, it's not even a question of accessing. It's just, well, duh, this is, where else could you be? Yeah, Laurie?
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit because I think I'm confusing awareness and observing. And it feels like I'm confused because observing is not passive, it's active, and it requires some energy, and I can't just rest in awareness when I'm observing sounds outside and thoughts and watching them go by and feelings, and it just, I can't explain it.
Yeah, no, you've explained it beautifully. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. It's really a good point. I'm so glad you brought this up. You know, I think this is something I need to be better about clarifying, making this discrimination between awareness and, can we say, vigilance? Is that a fair?
It's more observing.
Okay, or observing. Okay. Okay, here's my glass of water. Okay, observe it. No, observe it harder. Observe it as hard as you can. Okay, now stop observing it. What's the difference?
There isn't one really, I mean.
Yeah, there isn't one. There's no difference. It's still here. The only difference is if you're going, or you're going,
Well,
Just-
I can't seem to do the observing.
yeah, no, don't do the observing.
But what I was going
Don't
to
do
say
the-
was,
yeah.
while I was meditating, when I made some kind of distinction between observing and awareness, when I thought to stop observing, just be aware, it almost made me feel like I was checking out and going into a trance or something. It was like I'd lost my bearings.
Yes, lose your bearings.
Okay.
Lose your bearings. Lose everything. Throw it into the fire. It's so interesting. We say bearings. Bearings is like a sense of, okay, we know where we are. And it's natural. We want to have our bearings. We grow up. We find out, as kids, it's so interesting watching my little grandson who's 3 now and seeing how his sense of his orientation of now, oh, this is my house and this is our street and this is, where the preschool is and this is, every once in a while he gets on a plane and flies here to Santa Monica or flies out where we have family in Connecticut. Right now for him, Santa Monica and Connecticut are just these kind of mythical places that you go to in an airplane, And so more and more, our sense of bearings, orientation, is part of being grown up, mature, being able to handle ourselves in the world. That's very important in the relative world, in the world of activity, in the world of taking care of business, taking care of busyness. Okay? Otherwise, it's just, you're drunk. You don't know what you're doing. You're stumbling into things. Okay? All of that whole lifetime of developing bearings, not only geographical bearings, but bearings about relationship. Oh, how many times do I have to find out that, okay, being with this kind of man or this kind of woman is always going to be a disaster for me. Being with this kind of man or woman works out well. I like this kind of food. I don't like this kind of reading material. That's all bearings. We build it all up and it's great. It's like, we're finally starting to figure this stuff out. I'm starting to know where I am. Right? Then we sit down to close our eyes and throw that all into the fire. Throw it all into the fire. Okay, it's natural that there's going to be a resistance to that. It's funny, when people will do this, they'll schlep here through the rain on a Tuesday night to do this because, I want liberation, I want enlightenment, right? Of course, we do. Absolutely, every one of us does. But also, we all resist it because it's, there go my bearings.
But it feels like I did try it. I thought, stop observing, just let go.
Uh-huh.
And then I wound up just feeling kind of like mush. It felt like I
Great.
just-
What happens as a result is none of your business.
Okay.
You're not in charge of the result. You're hearing this. This is good. You are not in charge. See, and this is another part of having bearings. You're going, oh, but now it's mush. Mush is not supposed to happen. That's a bearing.
I see.
That's a criterion. That's a mush, no mush. I don't know what's supposed to happen. I can't tell you what's supposed to happen, except that, and exactly what Glenn here said, I didn't have an expectation. That's why all the great teachers say this. And you've heard this from me before, but now you're going to be able to hear this, right? What do the great teachers say? What does Jesus say? To enter into the kingdom of heaven, which is where? Within you. But this is what we're talking about, the kingdom of heaven, which is boundless, infinitely okay awareness.
Okay.
To enter into the kingdom of heaven, what do you have to do? Gospel of Luke, be like a little child, which means innocent, no expectation. And also little children don't work. They don't go punch the clock and go to work. Children play. You just go in, I'm just playing. I don't know what's going on. I'm just here in the sandbox. Doot, 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 doot.
Okay.
I actually had the same feeling as you. There was a point where it sort of transitioned from actually hearing things to those sounds sort of just went into an abyss. And I wasn't quite sure where I was or at what time I was or how long had passed, but I was kind of just in that
Okay, well, that's.
place.
Yes, okay,
I know I
good.
heard that.
You get, yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, going into the abyss. This is what we're doing. We're throwing everything away.
How do I stop being aware of the sounds?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When the Buddha is sitting here with his little smile on his face, is he going, okay, I'm pretty, things are pretty cool, except there's this sounds going on in the room. If only I could get rid of the sounds, then I'd be cool.
No, I like the sounds. They give me my bearings is the sound.
Yeah, okay. What happens is after a while, all this, you keep practicing, it becomes clear. It becomes clearer and clearer. Sound or no sound doesn't matter. Thought or no thought doesn't matter. X or not X, fill in the blank. X equals anything, doesn't matter. Now, but know that this resistance, I started making this point, I want to complete this thought. We all want that boundlessness. Also, we all resist it because it kicks up fear that's like, oh, all my molecules are going to blow apart. Really what it is, in a sense, it's the fear of death.
Yeah.
It's the fear of death. We think, when you go, oh, everything's turning into mush, or oh, I'm going into the abyss. In a sense, what you're saying there is, oh, I'm dying. And the answer is die. Die. Did any of you ever see the Ken Burns series on jazz? Okay.
I wish I had.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, you still have a chance. And there's this wonderful bit where they're interviewing who was Coltrane's drummer? Was that Elvin Jones? Yeah, I think it was Elvin Jones. He's sitting there at the drum kit, I think, and he's saying to the camera, yeah, people ask me, what was it like to play? And how many of you are familiar with the music of John Coltrane? It was just over the edge. And then past that. And so Elvin Jones is saying, he says, people ask me what it was like to play with Train. He says, you had to be ready to die with the motherfucker. Okay, so that's the attitude to go into meditation. You be ready to die. Be ready to die. And sometimes I will very, very explicitly do this as kind of almost an exercise in my meditation, which is especially when I realize that I'm sitting there, okay, I'm planning, okay, here's this piece of writing, this is how I can fix this paragraph as soon as I get out of here and open my eyes. I got to go over to Whole Foods and shop for dinner. This is what's on my shopping list. This is how I'm going to have that difficult conversation with that person. All of that is predicated on the assumption, let's say the presumption, that there's going to be a moment when I open my eyes and walk away from this. I don't know that, Maybe I'm going to die right here in the chair. We every time, usually habitually, we assume that that we're gonna walk away. Let's balance things out a little bit. Assume the opposite. Just assume, okay, this is it. I'm dead. I'm buying a one-way ticket into the abyss. Now, feel what that, as I'm saying this, feel what that stirs up for you. Feel what that kicks up. Maybe it kicks up some fear, maybe it kicks up some resistance, but can you also, can you smell a little freedom in that?
Definitely.
Yeah, that's liberation. That's liberation. And you never know. We could have a earthquake here right now, we're all gone. As far as we know, that's going to happen. You know, I heard this wonderful, wonderful Dharma talk by Sogyal Rinpoche. He said, everyone gets up in the morning with this one thought, and you know, it's like the thought is so habitual we don't even recognize it as a thought. And the thought is, I won't die today. Well, there's some day that thought's going to be incorrect. And as far as we know, it's today. You know, so let's use it. Let's use that odor of liberation that you can detect in that, and let's make use of it. Okay, I'm closing my eyes. This is it. Bye, world. Just go into the abyss. Throw everything into the fire. Nothing to hold on to. What do I need bearings for? I'm dying here.
I just got confused by the word be aware, awareness, and observe. I don't know.
Okay, then throw those words into the fire.
Okay.
Throw everything into the fire. Wayne, you've been trying to
Yeah, I
get
was
in here for a while.
trying to say that when you did that, that you asked us to be aware of it and be more aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe what the lady is saying is that observing is work because it's focus and attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you said to be more aware of it, I couldn't be any more aware of it.
Right.
I'd be more focused on it.
Right.
And the focus part of it's attention. The focus part of it is hard work. The attention part is hard work. And I think the observing part of what you're trying to do is hard work.
It is hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there is a distinct difference
Yes.
between awareness and observing, focus and attention.
That's exactly right.
Separate.
Thank you. That's exactly the point that I was trying to make, and thank you for clarifying that. So the point is whether we call it what is it? Observing. What were the other words you just used?
Observing,
Focusing.
and
Right.
attention.
And this is the attention, right? Observation, attention, vigilance, all those things are work. Awareness is automatic. We're always, and if we lose awareness of the glass, there's going to just, maybe we lose awareness of the glass. Maybe we space out and we're daydreaming, and maybe the glass is right in front of us and we stop registering the glass, but we're aware of something else. For the purposes of what we're doing here, right? For everything else, for all other purposes, what we're aware of in any given moment is really important. When the light turns red, you better be aware of it. You know, and that's the world of busyness, the matrix of time and space, where it's really important to have our bearings and interact with them appropriately. Okay? And in a way, that's what makes it so important that we have this space where we just throw all that away. Where we give up our bearings, we give up, so there's nothing to pay attention to, nothing to focus on, nothing to make that effort, just whatever awareness is just, you know. And if that word awareness throws you off, just throw that out. Beingness. How much work does it take to be?
I'm scared. I don't know. We'll see.
How much work? Okay, stop being right now.
All right, I can't.
You can't. Okay, yeah. And it's very simple. And it's not some little parlor trick or gotcha or anything. We're just pointing at the simplest of realities. We're just being here. Just like the couch is being, like the rug is being. How hard does the rug have to work at being? You know, you can always, and especially if you're really getting into your head and getting into, I'm trying not to try, or am I observing or aware or just look around, maybe sometimes better with your eyes open than your eyes closed. Oh, and just take a cue. Oh, look at the lamp. Oh, the lamp is just being there with perfect grace, perfect elegance, perfect effortlessness. Just be like the lamp. Just be like the couch. Yeah, Samantha?
This conversation reminds me a little of a story you told about an experience you had where I think you were teaching and you'd had, a lot of stuff going on. You got on the subway and you said, "Oh, I'm going to meditate."
Mm-hmm.
And there was somebody behind you talking on the phone. And at first you were like, "Oh no," and then
Yeah.
you made that distinction we're talking about. Where
Yes.
That didn't matter.
Yeah. So that time, that specific time, it was on the New Jersey Transit line into Manhattan, into Penn Station. Had to change trains in Newark. It's like, oh, at last I can meditate. And, oh, here's this girl right behind me shouting on her cell phone. And what was valuable there was the experience of me knocking my head against it, trying to make it stop, trying to, getting into my resentment until I gave up. I went, the first time I went to India was with a dear teacher of ours who Rob also knows very well, Charles Genoux. He's a wonderful Buddhist teacher from Switzerland. And I went to India with him and a little group, and we were going to all the important spots in the life of the Buddha, where the Buddha was born and where he died, where the tree that he sat under, where he gained enlightenment, and the place and then when we went to the deer park near the Bodhi tree, the deer park where he gave his first Dharma talk, his first discourse about what's what, and talked about meditation. And so Charles gave his little discourse there about what's what and about meditation. And I was ready to hear from, all of my background up to that moment. Oh, meditation is important because you encounter bliss. Meditation is important because you get to encounter freedom. Meditation is important because you get to encounter boundlessness. All of which is true. But that's not what Charles said. What Charles said was, meditation is important because you get to encounter suffering. And I said, what? That got my attention. And then he explained that what happens in meditation is exactly what happened to me that time on the train, which is you experience suffering and then you see how it works. You see the dynamics of it. Because at first you think the suffering is coming from the fact of the girl talking behind you on the phone. And you try to make that stop and it doesn't work. You bang your head against it. Eventually you get tired of banging your head. You stop resisting, and then all of a sudden everything's fine. And then you find out, suffering doesn't come from the external situation. It comes from me, my resistance to the external situation. And that's a discovery that first you make in the little special, protected test tube, the lab area of meditation. And then more and more you come out of meditation, you find out, there's nothing special about meditation. It's exactly the same mechanics, the same dynamics in regular life. The suffering, the distress, the anguish, all comes not from the stuff that happens to us. It doesn't come from the state of the universe. And it's a good thing because we can't control the universe. It's much bigger than we are. But it comes from it's sitting at the red light, trying to make it turn green. It's that simple. And it's never worked and it never will work. And the most important moment in your life is when you really get down in your bones that trying to make the red light turn green faster doesn't work. And all the kinds of red lights in your life. Right now, a lot of it, and interesting, this is the karma, as it were, of this nation, apparently. We've got this great big, what for many of us, now for some people it's different. It's going to be different for different people. But for a whole lot of people, we have a big red light in our political situation. You know, we get up in the morning and it's, you know, you check the news on your phone or your TV or whatever, and you go, what is it today? Right? And a lot of people, you know, and I keep seeing articles about how many people are lining up down the block to get into the psychotherapist's offices, and the amount of anxiety medication people are consuming is way up and so forth. So it's a very interesting exercise, to say the least. How do we handle this? How do we handle this? And by the way, if you're one of these people who just couldn't be happier with, you know, the people who are running things right now, God bless. You'll get your test some other way, or you've had your test some other way. Everyone gets it. Right? So does this mean, we be apathetic? Okay, whatever, not engaged, that, you can't be engaged in politics or whatever? No. I mean, I grew up in a family of political activists. I'm my parents' son. I'm, and I engage, and I go to marches, and I carry signs, and I write letters, and I donate money, and, I'm engaged. But the thing is, how do you, that is hopefully productive. What's not productive is getting stressed by the thing. And a lot of people feel, if I'm not getting stressed, I'm not conscientious. If I'm not getting stressed, then I'm apathetic, I'm being flaky. Whether it's about the political world or your own personal life. That, the more messed up I get by this, the more I'm being conscientious. But it doesn't work that way. It's not conscientious. The more stressed you get, actually, the less functional, the less able you are to see clearly what can be done to make things better and to function that way. And, I say this a lot. If you think of the really great political activists, the social activists, the ones who've really changed the world, you think of Gandhiji or Nelson Mandela or Dr. King, right? Don't you know right away that these people were not screwed up and stressed and angry inside? You can put your attention right now on any one of those and you feel, they had these big open hearts. There was a place of great peace, great tranquility, great love that they were coming from. And, we can all do that. Yeah.
Today you mentioned being aware of awareness, or being aware of being aware. And that's a concept I've been after for many years, like 20 years, but intellectually. I could never actually experience the being aware of being aware.
Mm-hmm.
Now today, it happened that I was listening to Rupert Spira exactly on that.
Right.
So when you mentioned it, I went, whoa, right?
Did I mention that?
I think, yeah, you did.
Okay.
So when I went into the aware,
Mm-hmm.
the being aware of being aware, the feeling was like expanding or deepening or being behind.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to let go of that because it's still spatial?
Yeah, you have to let go of everything. If there's anytime there's something that can be let go of it. And these things can be very subtle. Like I can hear what you're trying to describe, the sense of space. Am I in front of it or behind it, or anytime there's anything like that, that's some structure. There's some edge to that.
Because it's like the observation. I focused in when you said
there's some, to use Laurie's term, there's some bearings there, even subtle bearings, even bearings that are not asked for. So whatever it is, let it go, throw it into the fire. That doesn't mean try to push it away. It just means, just relax your grip. It's so simple. Relax your grip, whatever it is. Relax your grip. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to hold on to it. Don't try to get rid of it. Relax your grip. Surrender. 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 Surrender some more. But that point, aware that we're aware. So, we've pointed out here that we're always aware, every moment of our life. And that's the one thing, that is the silent thread of continuity that runs through all our experience. When you were aware, when you were learning your first word, when you were taking your first steps and falling down and getting up again, you were aware of all that. And that awareness is exactly the same as the awareness of driving here tonight. The awareness that was there when you were aware of driving here tonight. The same as the awareness when you had your eyes closed and you were meditating. Just being, which we call meditating for some reason. So that awareness is always the same. It's silent, it's the space within which everything happens. But most of that time, most people, as you say, are not aware of being aware. So in a sense, that's the project. That's the thing that we're doing here. The awareness is already a done deal. We can't stop and get rid of it. It's the basic fact of our life. And that's why we don't have time to go deeply into this tonight, but if everything else changes, but the awareness remains the same. And when we say everything else changes, that includes all the things we usually identify ourselves with. Like we identify ourselves with the body, but this is not the same body I had when I was 2 years old. So we identify with our thoughts, with our thinking, all our ideology and our politics and our religion, and our attitudes and our aesthetics and all that. But all my thinking is not the same as when I was 15 or, yesterday, right? And when all these things we normally identify with keep changing, and the only thing that's constant is this awareness, which has no color, no size, no shape, no, I meant to pick up on this thing that you said before, Glenn, no time and no space. You see, and you had some nice clarity on that in your first time falling into this, which is, oh yeah, there's no time, there's no space there. Because time and space are only there on the active surface of the ocean of mind. As soon as we sink into the silent water, there is no time or space there. And that's why people come out and they go, gee, how long was that? Oh, am I in this room? Oh, am I in this body? That's kind of weird, So what happens is if that beyond time, beyond space, just boundless awareness, beingness is the only constant of our life and everything else is changing, we have to start to ask the question, well, which more truly goes with the word I? We have to at least start to suspect that I'm not a body, I'm not a mind, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my attitudes, I'm not my history. Where is your history right now? It's just a bunch of thoughts. Your so-called past is just a bunch of thoughts that we call memories in the present. They're just like any other thoughts. But who or what is having those thoughts is the same who or what that is experiencing the sound of this voice. It's the same who or what which is experiencing the pressure of your butt against the seat right now. And that's awareness. The same awareness that goes, oh, here's my body at this moment, or at least what I'm experiencing, this shape, this color, this sound.
See, I kind of felt, I'm not sure if this is normal, I kind of felt a detachment from my brain.
I'm sorry, you felt detachment from?
Detachment from my brain. From the thinking kind of faded away.
Yeah.
I was aware that there was a kind of a detachment, but only when you did
hit the bell. Yeah.
Did I realize that I felt detached from my body, my brain, and time and space.
Yeah.
I felt just Like I am just
Right. So the
in the moment.
yeah, again, the way you're describing it is so beautifully, your cognition of it is so beautifully clear. And I love that you're bringing in this word detachment, because you'll read this word detachment in a lot of texts, and you'll hear people talking about it, and often it's very misunderstood. Okay, I'm going to be detached. Okay, all this shit's going on, I'm going to be detached. Usually it means I'm going to try to artificially suppress my natural emotional reaction to it. That has nothing to do with detachment. Actually, that is a form of attachment to some idealized model of what kind of a spiritual Superman I'm supposed to be here. Some idea of stoicism or something. That's not detachment. We don't become detached. All we can do is notice that we were never attached. Right. That rings true, doesn't it? Yeah. We just note that our detachment is the detachment. We're detached in the way that the space is detached from the objects, right? If I move this object, I move this bowl through the space of this room. The space is not affected. The space is not the movement of the bowl. The space is not the bowl. The space is not damaged. No, even if I move it around violently, that doesn't damage the space. If I move it very beautifully and gracefully, it doesn't enhance the space. The space is just the space. And in that sense, we can say the space is detached from all the activity of the bowl. So in the same way, our awareness, I don't even like that word "our" because that's identifying it with all this personal stuff. But say awareness, the awareness, we could say in that same way is detached from all the activity of body, mind, time, space, the senses. And at that point, we see that this word detached is really kind of losing its usefulness, because detached only is meaningful if they were once upon a time attached. And really what we're seeing is they were never attached. So I don't even like this word detached.
I think for me, anyway, there was more a double detachment. There was the detachment from physical, mind, body, and soul.
Right.
But then there was the detachment from awareness. I was aware that I was aware, but then I became detached even from that. So there was no awareness, there was no anything. It was just a very serene silence of
Yeah, but the fact that you are saying something about it means that you were aware.
Until only when you pressed, when you hit the bell, I realized I'd slipped out of awareness too. It kind of
but you're saying there was this tranquility. See,
Yes.
here's the thing, and this is a confusion we've got to wrap up in a minute. But and because of the newness of it, the unfamiliarity. What you're actually describing here is that when you got very, very settled into that awareness, beingness, let's just say into the that you stopped thinking, or you stopped thinking about it, or you stopped even the subtle kind of narrative about what's going on here, that it sounds like that dropped off.
everything dropped off. Noises.
Yeah. So that can happen. And then when I ring, but awareness was still there, or you would not be able to say, oh yes, it became silent and tranquil. It was silent, tranquil awareness.
Yeah, I remember
It's
moving
not-
into the
yeah.
space,
Right.
and then I don't know how much time went by,
Right.
and when you hit the
Because then no time is
1 second.
no time is going by.
Right.
Right. Now, the one very important thing for you, and this is for everyone, of course, but in particular, I want to say for you, is that all this very particularity of how we're describing this and all this, next time you sit down and close your eyes, forget about all of this. Okay? Because this was able to happen because you went in innocently like a child without expectation. So don't go, so now the challenge for you is throw all this away again. And go in as a child again and again and again. This is you must be born again, right? You must be born, and born again means coming out fresh, coming out innocent again and again every moment. This is, and all the great spiritual traditions, all the religions have this, baptism. This is the real, to me, the real meaning of baptism. And of course, what always happens over time, in the history of religions, is it winds up just being the externality of it, and then people, can argue about, well, you're supposed to be baptized with a few drops from a baptismal font, or are we supposed to dunk you in the river, and all this stuff that's completely misses the point. The real baptism is just being fresh, being innocent, and just, one of the great things about starting with that mantra of "wee" is that one of the reasons that we resist it is it makes us feel really stupid. That's the point. That's the point. Feel stupid. Feel stupid. Wee! Or here's a mantra for you. Duh. Yeah. Actually, Rob has sat with some of the same Buddhist teachers that I have in a tradition called Dzogchen, which is considered a pinnacle teaching of Tibetan Buddhism. And when you meditate in Dzogchen, you don't even close your eyes. You sit there with your eyes open and with your mouth hanging open. And what's great about having your mouth hanging open is it really makes you feel stupid. It's like, duh. And then just whatever's there is there. So that's the attitude. That's the attitude. So, couple of things. First of all, our next session is going to be 1 week from tonight. Not 2 weeks from tonight. It's going to be 1 week from tonight. What's today? January the 15th. So it's going to be 22nd. Okay, and this has to do with because the following week I'm going to be traveling, doing some teaching in Northern California. So our rotation will get shifted by a week that way. But as always, if you're on the mailing list, and if you're not, then you can sign up on the mailing list over there. You'll always get an alert about 4 days before. Also, I always have the dates posted on the schedule page on my website, deanwords.com. Especially the new people here. We've got, where'd they go? I had some bookmarks someplace here with my website, take bookmarks. Oh, also this. I'll get some bookmarks out for you. Also, I've got my...
There's some back in the back.
Okay, it's okay. I'll get them. I've got some here. Thank you, Rob. I got copies of my books and CDs here are always available. Also, I want to mention this. Is India on your bucket list? Okay, this is a trip to India in January 18th to February 8th, 2020, being led by my dear friend, one of my very oldest friends, Phil Goldberg. Some of you may know Phil's books. He's the author of a bunch of books. His two most recent books are American Veda and The Life of Yogananda. And he is an incredible scholar of the Enlightenment teachings and just a sweet, wonderful, fun guy. And he'll be leading it along with spiritual teacher Swami Brahmananda. This is some information about this. Is a if you've been coming here for a while, I've never recommended one. And a lot of people are leading India trips and so forth. I've never recommended one. This one I would recommend going with Phil. So if you're interested, take one of these. And what else is coming up? Oh yes, on February 3rd, if you've got any friends down in Orange County, I'm going to be doing a thing at Center for
Spiritual Living.
Thank you. Center for Spiritual Living in Newport Mesa, I think it is. It's on the website. And then the following Sunday, the 10th, we have a day-long silent retreat. I know some of you are signed up for that. There's still a few spaces. If really think about doing that, doing the day-long immersion. If you've never done that, hey Rob, is going on retreat a good thing?
I would say it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Really, people walk away for even a day like that, 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. This can be really life-changing stuff, because something happens when you just take some time. All we're doing is we're going into the insights like this and just going deeper and deeper into the experience. So think about coming to the retreat on the 10th, unless you have something more important to do than gaining enlightenment, eternal liberation. If you've got something more important than gaining eternal liberation from suffering, please let me know what it is, because I want to do that. And YouTube friends will be back here a week from tonight. So may all beings swiftly realize eternal liberation from suffering, the one true happiness, which, son of a gun, it was right here all along. And thus may all conflict spontaneously evaporate and peace prevail everywhere throughout the universe. And the traditional Sanskrit language for that wish: Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Low battery.